Okay, let's talk about wembanyama and Scoot, and then after this video, I would like to get back to the preseason now because I can watch games without getting a headache, as I couldn't there for a couple days. Still a little bit of a cough, so in case my voice sounds weird. But let's start with wembanyama, and I mean, he's a 2K creative player. There's no other way to really put it. I mean, what I just thought about with him is he's just kind of a matchup nightmare, right? Because if you want to put your center on him, just to put your biggest guy on him, well, that center might not be able to step out all the way out there. They might not be able to just move laterally to stay with the guy. So that could pose a problem right away for a decent amount of teams. Not every single team. Like, I think Bam could be out there on the perimeter and not get embarrassed by wembanyama. But for some teams, they might have to be like, okay, we got to put a taller wing who's got a little more speed and just general athleticism on this guy, or else that could be a problem. Well, then it's a matter of, can they handle him physically? I mean, yeah, he could probably still gain a few pounds because he's 18 years old and like 7'4", but he's probably going to do that. And even then, we've already seen him make turnaround jumpers over smaller guys, at least in the two games that we've seen him in, right? But of course, the NBA is what it is. I mean, I imagine there's going to be some strong athletic wings who are going to try to get in his airspace as much as possible and see how much physicality they can get away with against the guy. I have seen Porzingis brought up a few times, but just the idea of, okay, when teams put a wing on Porzingis, we've seen that he hasn't been able to like really make you pay for that because he just doesn't have the handle and the grace off the dribble, if you will, and all that. With wembanyama, it's like he can legit just take a wing off the dribble, and because of the size difference, he can get the better of him. And I mean, there's still the stuff of just like in transition, grabbing offensive rebounds, setting screens, and diving to the basket. And then defensively, I mean, the potential there, my God. I mean, like, we will see in time whether his proper role defensively should be as a help defender or as a just the main rim protector. But regardless of which one it is, I mean, I think it's going to work. I've seen Robert Williams devastate offenses as a help defender. Just take that and then just make him way bigger. As far as the health, I mean, yeah, like there's not really a counter to it. He's really tall, and we've got a trend with super duper tall guys. Now let's talk about the ideal team for him. The ideal team for Victor Wembanyama is every single team in the league. What team would I like to see him on? I mean, Charlotte is my favorite one, just him and LaMelo, like, let's go. But I don't know if the Hornets are going to end up with the third worst record in the league or whatever it is to give yourself at least a 14% chance at him, right? And I don't know if they're really wired like that with MJ running the show and everything. After them, I mean, there's no wrong answer here. Like, if he's setting screens a year from now for Cade or Tyrese Halliburton or Jalen Green or SGA and Giddey, it's going to be good stuff. And to think, if he ended up on OKC, like him and Chet together as a front court, you talk about two bigs who can grab rebounds, bring the ball up themselves. They both can shoot. They both can, of course, be just really intimidating, either rim protectors or help defenders. Like, that would be a lot. Now let's get to Scoot, who, unlike Wembanyama, resembles a player that we've seen a few times, a very athletic point guard that you can run most of your offense through, who's going to be a terror in transition, who can get downhill, put constant pressure on the defense, finish above the rim. With Scoot, you want to dive into the scouting stuff. The main thing is the three-point shooting. That's the one question. And even then, like, his pull-up mid-range is good. His free throws have been good. So those suggest that he can step out and be good. He had a really pretty step back in the one game we saw from him. I assume teams would play a lot of drop coverage on Scoot, dare him to make that pull-up mid-range, similar to what we've seen when they guarded Derrick Rose coming around screens, John Wall, Russell Westbrook. It also was the fact that he didn't go to college, right? He went from high school to the G League, so that's a larger jump with the three-point line than most guys are used to, right? The other thing draft people are bringing up about him is, will he find the proper balance between being a scorer and being a passer, given that he's going to have the ball all the time? But I don't think there's a whole lot of fear about decision-making or being a selfish player. To me, the big thing with Scoot is going to be, I mean, obviously the three, but how many fouls is he going to draw? Now, it helps that he's 195 pounds, he's got the big wingspan, very athletic, potentially can put on some more pounds, and as a result, he can just handle the contact around the rim. That's the first hope. The second thing, and I'm going to quote Hoop Intellect here, who's a very good draft YouTuber. He says that Scoot has this great tendency where after he's begun his drive, when he picks the ball up and then he goes into whatever it's going to be, Euro step, he's going to go for the layup, the dunk, whatever it might be, right? The way that he positions the ball, it kind of resembles like a running back at times, and it's just this extra level of savviness when it comes to angling his body on drives and just operating in the paint in general. And to me, it just seems like he's going to draw fouls. As for his defense, I mean, he is 6'2", but he's got a 6'9" wingspan. He's 195 pounds, and again, he's super athletic, so the tools are certainly there. One interesting thing with Scoot is when you look at some of these teams that are most likely not going to make the playoffs, between the Pacers, Rockets, Thunder, Pistons, these teams have something going on with their guard situations already. With that being said, like if I was the Pacers, I would still draft Scoot Henderson and be like, we have him and Halliburton. If I don't get number one, obviously.